Hey, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today. My name is Sheikh Wes, and today we will be talking about pronunciation. And as you all know that we have completed our pronunciation 101 last week. Today we have pronunciation 102 going on. Okay. In the previous session we talked about the sounds of English language. Okay. We talked about vowel sounds and consonant sounds. So just a quick recap. What are vowel sounds? The sounds that are produced by us when we do not restrict the airflow coming out of our vocal tract, right? So it's just a sound that is produced by an unrestricted airflow, okay, like a sound. Similarly, consonant sounds are those sounds that are produced by restricting the airflow or modifying the airflow. Okay, when the air comes out of our lungs through our vocal tract and outside, we kind of change or modify the shape of our mouth so that different sounds are produced. Like we use our lips to pronounce B, like b, b, b. And similarly, the word S, sound S, 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 s. So we use our teeth, we use our tongue, right? And we kind of modify, we kind of change the way the air comes out of our vocal tract, all right? So those are consonant sounds. Now we also know that there are two types of vowel sounds, long and short, and then the diphthongs. These are the two vowel sounds, distinct. And similarly, about consonants, there are two consonant sounds. One of the sounds is called a voiced consonant sound, and the other one is called voiceless or unvoiced consonant sound. Okay, and now we know that how we produce the sounds of particular voiced and unvoiced consonant sounds as well. So similarly, today we're going to talk about syllables and syllable stress. Now, what are syllables and what is syllable stress? We're going to talk about that in detail. So before we begin, we need to know what syllables actually are. Now, what are syllables? They are the basic units of pronunciation of any word sound that we produce. Okay, so the basic units, just like we say that cells are the basic unit of life, similarly we say that syllables are the basic unit of pronunciation. Now, they are extremely critical. They're very, very fundamental to language, right? And they're extremely important for pronunciation. Okay, you want to make sure that you're pronouncing words correctly. That is why syllable stress is very important, and knowing the number of syllables in a word is critical. Okay, and then to help other people recognize the words that we're trying to say, it's very important that we focus on syllable and syllable stress. Also, it helps us maintain the rhythm in English language. Okay, so that is why they're very, very important. And similarly, as I said, that just as our bodies are made up of organs, words are made up of syllables. And what they do is their job is essentially to break the entire word into rhythmic sounds, smaller rhythmic sounds. Okay, they have their own rhythm, and they have the rhythm because there is a combination of a consonant sound and a vowel sound. A vowel is an extremely critical part of syllables because there will be no syllable sounds if there are no vowels present or a vowel sounds present. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide where we talk about the examples. So there are different types of syllables, like one syllable, two syllable, three syllable words. Okay, and I'm going to give you examples. For one syllable words, the example is cat, book, and fish. Now, what do we see here? We see C as a consonant, and then there is a vowel. So there's a consonant and vowel combination. Similarly, we see B as a consonant, and then there is double O, which is pronounced as a O sound. Okay, a vowel sound. So there's a consonant, and then there's a vowel sound. Similarly, F is a consonant, and I is a vowel sound. Right? So this is one syllable. Now, the idea is to identify how many syllables are in a word. There is a trick. So whenever you say a word, put your hand under your jaw, right? And kind of feel it move up and down, okay? So for example, example. When I say example, so there are three syllables because my hand moves up and down three times, right? That's one way to do it. The other way is you can clap your hands, say example, right? So say example. So we can like clap three times when we say example. So every time we make a different sound, we clap. So however many times you clap is the number of syllables that are in the word. Okay, now we're going to move on to two syllable words like water, and pencil. As you can notice that in water, there is a W, that's a consonant, and A, that's a vowel sound. Similarly in pencil, P is a consonant and E is a vowel. And C is a consonant and I is a vowel. So you can see in water and pencil, there are two vowels. So there should be ideally two vowel sounds or two syllables, right? But it's not always the case, because sometimes you can combine those and combine two vowels to form a single sound, just like in the book. We have two vowels, O and O, but they produce only a small O sound, right? A single sound. So generally speaking, there is a consonant and vowel attached to it, so it's one syllable, and however many vowels are there, that's the number of syllables the word has, but not always. Then three-syllable words: computer, computer, elephant, elephant. And the four-syllable words would be entertainment, entertainment. Okay, and then this is one of my favorite words to pronounce. It's development, development. We normally pronounce it as development, right? But it's actually development. So you have to stress on the vowel part. And this DE is a D sound rather than a de sound. So it's not development, it's development. All right. And similarly, communicate, communicate. It is a verb. That means when communication is taking place, somebody is doing that process, they are communicating. So communicate is to do, to communicate. Okay. So that is the four-syllable word, communicate. Similarly, we move on to the five-syllable words. Okay. In five-syllable words, we have this: Constantinople, right? Constantinople. As you can see, there's a consonant sound, then there's a vowel sound. Okay, so that becomes one syllable. Similarly, STAN, tan, constan. T is a consonant sound, A is a vowel sound. So constant, TI, a consonant sound and a vowel sound. Constantinople. So however many vowels you can find in the word, that's the number of syllables the word has, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, communication, right? And there is a difference between this pronunciation of communicate and this communication. Okay? Now, the difference between these two is that communicate is a verb and communication is a noun. So when you talk about communicate, so you can say communicate. You can stress on this part, part. Okay? But whenever you're talking about this communication, so you have to stress on the K part. Okay? Like communication. Okay? So that's the difference between two words, and we're going to talk about them, how these words are different, and what is the rule for pronouncing all of those words differently. Now we're going to talk about the features of syllables. What are some distinct qualities of syllables? Number one, at least one vowel sound has to be present. You can also have more than one vowel, right? But it creates a complex syllable structure. When you only have one consonant and one vowel, it's called a simple syllable structure, SSS. When you have more than one vowel, that creates a syllable, that's called the complex syllable structure. Okay? And the other one is that consonant sound. So there are two types of consonant sounds. One is the onset consonant, which occurs before a vowel. Okay, and then there's the coda consonants. Coda consonants occur after the vowel sound. Okay. Now, for example, there are structures called CV, CVC, and CCV structures. In CV structures, the consonant comes first, and then there's a vowel sound, like in cat. Okay, and in CVC, the consonant comes first, and the vowel is in the middle, and then there is another consonant sound. In CCV, however, there are two consonant sounds first, and then there is a vowel sound. So that's a CCV structure. And some syllables are stressed. That depends on certain syllable stress rules. That's number one. And it also depends upon what kind of word that is. Okay, and dividing the word depends on what kind of a word you're trying to pronounce, right? So what language it is from, and what is the language of origin. Okay, so that's a lot many rules, of course, but then we're not going to go into that. So we're specifically going to talk about 6 rules of syllable stress. Okay, 6 rules of syllable stress. And rule number 1 would be, we're going to talk about that in a bit, right? So, but we have to remember that the rules of syllable stress are there because there are syllables that are stressed that depend upon their type, the type of the word, and the meaning of the word. Similarly, it also depends upon the number of syllables in a word, like we just talked about communicate and communication. Okay, and there is an example. So I'm going to present the entire slide now. So this example would tell you how it varies. So whenever we have a noun that has 2 syllables in it, we are going to stress on the first syllable. For example, knowledge. Similarly, climate, grammar, product. Instead of product, it's product. However, product is also a correct pronunciation, right? But that would not be a noun. That would be a different word entirely. Okay, so product. And similarly, table and china. So these are the words that are nouns that only have 2 syllables. And the stress on the first syllables rule is also applicable on adjectives that have 2 syllables. For example, happy, clever, spacious, handsome, graceful. So we're going to talk about, we're going to stress on the first part of the word, not the second one. Okay, so you can see that I know there's a lot of words, there's a lot of letters in these words, but there's only 1 and 2. That's the only number of vowel sounds in it. Similarly, in clever, there are 2 E's, so 2 syllables. In spacious, A makes it one vowel sound, and IO makes another diphthong. So that's another vowel sound. Similarly, A in hand and O in some. And the last E in SOME is silent. So the silent alphabets are not counted. And similarly, graceful. And this one, grace, is a word in itself. So the ending E is obviously not counted towards the pronunciation. So grace and then full, F-U-L, that is a different part of the word. That is a different syllable altogether. Okay. So rule number 1 is that first syllable will be stressed whenever you have 2 syllable nouns or 2 syllable adjectives. Then there is rule number 2 of syllable stress, which says that stress will be on the last syllable for most verbs with 2 syllables. So remember, there are exceptions sometimes, but for most verbs that have 2 syllables, we are going to stress on the second part. Okay, for example, export, increase, permit, pronounce, require. Right now, the word export and permit, right, there are 2 pronunciations to it. One is permit and the other one is permit. So when you stress on the per part, it becomes a noun, right? I need to have a permit to do something. Will you permit me to do something? So that's the verb pronunciation. Similarly, orange, orange, secure, promise, comply, inflate. So these are verbs that have 2 syllables. So in case of two syllable verbs, the stress lies on the second part. Similarly, rule 3 of syllable stress is that for words that end with these tion, sion, and cian, you need to stress on the penultimate syllable, which is the second last syllable. Okay, and second last syllable we can see education. So this is shun. So this will be the first syllable, and then we'll move on to the left side, which is K, education, communication. Similarly, magician, institution, musician, concentration. So these are the words that we need to pronounce with the stress on the second last syllable. Extension, technician, permission, obsession. Okay, exception would be television. So you need to stress on the tel part, television. Rule 4 of syllable stress is going to apply for the words ending in IC. So you are going to stress on the second last syllable for word ending. For example, economic, not economic, economic, realistic, strategic, mechanic, geographic, dramatic, pessimistic, academic, poetic, electric. So these are the words that have IC at their ending, and you are going to stress on the second last syllable of the word. Similarly, for the words that end in double E's or double O's, you can stress the last syllable. For example, employee, degree, guarantee, shampoo, taboo, tattoo. So the exceptions here would be coffee. So you're going to stress on the first one, coffee, and committee. So you're going to stress on the second part or the middle syllable of the word, committee. Now, rule 6. This is very important. There are nouns, then there are verbs. So from noun to verb, the syllable stress changes. As I earlier said, project versus project. So the project would be a noun and project would be a verb, because in verbs you stress on the last syllable. Similarly, a suspect. A suspect. So there's a person who is a suspect. And what do you do to a suspect? You suspect them of doing something. Similarly, relay or relay. This is a noun, a relay. It's an object, an electric object. And relay, so doing something again, transferring something again, transmitting something again, relaying information. Okay. Similarly, conduct and conduct. So these are two pronunciations, conduct and conduct. Conduct would be the temperament, the behavior of a person, and then conduct would be to allow electricity to pass through something. Similarly, impact and impact. So when something has an impact, it means it impacts your life. Okay? And then subject, and similarly subject. So when you say subject, a person can be a subject, a book to read can be a subject, right? A topic can be a subject. But when it comes to subject, that means to make someone go through something. Subject. I will subject you to learning, right? Similarly, there is progress and progress. So progress is a noun. Progress is when somebody is making progress. And the examples would go again to present and present. Present and present. So the present would be a noun. Right now. We're living in the present. The present. Okay, so that's the current time. The present or present would be when you present something to someone, we show or give someone something. Similarly, a permit means permission, and to permit means to allow somebody to do something. Rebel is a person who is rebellious and rebels against someone. Okay? And then again, we have insult and insult. Okay? So when you say insult, so that's a noun. Okay? And then when you insult, it means it's a verb. When you insult, you're making an insult or insulting comment about someone. Similarly, contest and contest. So there is a contest, there is a competition, and you want to take a part in it. That says you want to contest it. Okay? Contest in it. Similarly, a conflict, right, is a disagreement, is a clash, but conflict, right? So we say conflicting ego. Okay, so when there are two people who are in a conflict, they say they're conflicting about something. Similarly, contract. So when there is an agreement between two or more parties, it's called a contract. But when it's contract, it either means to shortening something or de-lengthening something, right? Or to catch some disease or something. Okay, contracting a disease. So these would be the 6 rules of pronunciation that we all need to remember. And I assume there has been some issues. I'm getting messages that there have been issues in connection today. So yes, so there might be an issue again with the connection, but overall people are able to join, but some of them are not able to maintain the connection. That's fine. So if you want to register for the upcoming sessions on CSL, which is Communication Skills Learning, you can scan the QR code, you can take a screenshot, and it will take you to a Google form where you can fill in your details, and we will send you an invite for the next and upcoming sessions. So we're going to have another session, the final session for pronunciation. That'll be called Pronunciation 103. We are going to have it on 29th of October. the same time. It's going to be a Sunday at 7 p.m. and anyone can join. You can just scan this QR code, and you can go to the page that we normally share through multiple social media channels, and you can register for this webinar. Right? You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is Aurelian Skills Academy, and you can subscribe to it. You can like the videos if you want. You can share your comments and all. You can watch the videos. I will be uploading this video very soon on it, and you'll be able to go through it in case you missed it. All right, so that would be it. And if you've got any questions, you can connect with me through LinkedIn. This is my profile, linkedin.com/in/SheikhOwais, SHEIKHOWAIS. Or you can also scan this QR code, and it's going to take you to a page where all our social media pages are linked. So you can go ahead, scan this, go to the page, and then click on those social media buttons, and it will take you to all our pages, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Threads, and everything. So you can go ahead and do that right now. If you've got any questions, you can send me an email. You can send me a message on LinkedIn. That's how I would prefer to receive questions. Or you have the email IDs, aurelianskillsacademy@gmail.com.